guys, welcome back to Broken to Beautiful. I'm your host, Chloe Fisher, and I hope you guys are all having such a wonderful day. And today I have a special guest on the podcast with me. At least to me, he's a special guest because he's my husband, Ben, and our new puppy, River.
Woohoo!
Which is so crazy. I'm kind of shocked that we have a puppy now. But he's a little crazy at the moment. And he's gone. But I do hope you guys do watch the YouTube video because you guys get to see a little glimpse of him. Or you guys can go onto my Instagram and see a lot of pictures of him too at chloe.fisher16. So, yeah. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It is crazy, actually. It's crazy that I started the podcast, and it's crazy now that he is... Do you want to go get him? Yeah. As he is getting our puppy to calm down, I hope you guys are having such a wonderful day. Life has been a little crazy, and I am so sorry that the podcast is coming out on a Thursday instead of a Wednesday. I am really, really sorry about that, guys. Did not mean for that to happen. But, you know, life just got a little crazier. And with puppy, and then I, praise the Lord, got a new job. And so that's also, I'm training for that right now. So that's also been a whirlwind. And we're just trying to figure out routines right now. And so, yeah. But I do hope you guys will continue to listen to this one, even though it's going to come out on a Thursday. And next week's episode will come out on a Wednesday, I promise. Anyway, yeah, so with that being said, I thought today that we would talk about our first time that we met and how we knew that we wanted to marry each other, which is such an exciting episode. So let's get right into it. All right, Ben. Do you want to start or me?
Let's have you start.
You want me to start talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we met in September of 2021, which is wild. So we've been together for 3.5 years? Maybe? No, actually, yeah, 3.5 years.
Over 4 years.
Over 4 years of knowing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like when we've like, for how long we've been dating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been like 3.5 years, almost 4 years in January, which is crazy. And now we're married, which is such a blessing. But we met in September of 2021, our second week of starting college at Grand Canyon University. So I met him in Arizona. And it was really funny. You guys already know why I wanted to go to GCU, but I want you to explain kind of why you wanted to go to GCU.
Yeah, I decided to go to GCU, Grand Canyon University, because my sister, Farrah, went there. That's when I first heard about it. And she would not stop raving about it. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go check it out. And GCU, what they'll do is they'll fly you out for free to go check it out. And so I flew from Kansas to GCU. And as soon as I saw the campus, I was hooked. Literally within the first 3 weeks of freshman year is when I met Chloe. And so, you know, you can say how we met, but that's kind of the backstory there.
Yeah. And so, so I met another girl with one of my roommates, I want to say like the first week of school. And, she invited me and my roommate to go hang out with her in another friend's dorm room. And I was kind of debating whether to go or not, because I was like, well, I can have some stuff I need to do, and I just wasn't sure if I wanted to do it or not. And so I said yes, just because I was like, okay, that'd be a great way to meet new friends, and that'd be a great way to just get to grow a community and all of that. Yeah, and so I said yes, just to get to meet new people, because it was freshman year. Everyone is new, and I was just like, hey, this is gonna be a great way to meet friends since I knew no one at GCU. Even though I lived in Arizona, didn't know anyone from GCU. And so I said yes. So my roommate and I decided to go into another girls' dorm room. And there's like a few guys there. Did not expect to meet Ben there at all. Did not expect to meet like anyone that I would potentially want to date freshman year, and he didn't either, which is funny. And so we get to the room. I walk in, and he's sitting on the couch, and this is so funny. He turns to look at who's walking in the door. He turns and looks at me, turns away really quickly, and then starts fixing his hair. And it's so
That's her
funny.
favorite part.
It is my favorite part. And it's so funny, and it's so cute how he did that. And I just looked at him, and I was like, okay, that's a little weird. But
Oh, thanks.
we ended up in the cute way. And I ended up sitting right next to him, and he introduced himself, and I introduced myself to him. And we honestly spent from like 2 p.m., I think on like a Sunday, to midnight. And that was just so crazy how much time we spent together. And we got to know each other so much, which was awesome. And it was really fun. But that's the day that we met, and then from then on, we spent like one-on-one time together every single day because we were in the same friend group. And it was funny, I think after like a week of knowing each other, we ended up friend zoning each other, which was really funny. And we were on like a parking garage, and we ended up just friend zoning each other because, like I said in my first episode with my testimony, I wasn't a believer when I met him. And he was a believer, or he is a believer, and he was at that time too. And so he wanted to make sure my faith was my own, which it ended up being, praise God. And he also we both wanted to get to know each other more and be friends before we started dating. But what's funny about that is we friend zoned each other, and then after that, we spent like one-on-one time together. So we were basically dating, but we also weren't. It was a very messy time, which I'm hoping to get into that too, because that's really funny. But yeah, and so that's how we met. And like I said before, it was very, very messy. A lot of it, we said that we were dating, but we weren't actually dating, or we said we weren't dating, but we actually were dating, and we were just trying to like convince ourselves, like, no, like what we're doing is fine. And it's not like we did anything, but we were just really confused on both of our feelings for each other, that we ended up dating a lot earlier than what we said we were going to be. But yeah, so really, really messy. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because obviously everything worked out okay. But if I could change one thing, it would be, making it more clear on if we were friends, if we were dating, if like whatever we were. Because yeah, it definitely made it confusing, and that was not ideal on my part. But of course, it all worked out okay.
It did. That was definitely the Lord. But what I want to ask you is, what was going through your mind when you first met me that day?
Yeah.
I'm pulling up big questions here.
Yeah, we were watching Tim Hawkins, the comedian, at our friend's apartment. And then, that's when Chloe got invited, and I was already sitting down on the couch watching the show. And then that's when Chloe walked in, as she alluded to a little bit earlier. And then I saw her, and I was like, wow, she's very cute. She's stunning. And thankfully, I had a spot open right next to me on the couch, and I was hoping that she would sit next to me, and she definitely did. And I was like, yes. And she sat next to me, and I was like, hey, what's your name? And she responded, and I shared my name, obviously the rest is history there. But yeah, that's what was going through my mind when she first walked in the room. I was like, oh, okay. It was awesome.
No, it was honestly so fun. And like all of our friends freshman year were so fun. And they made fun of us a lot.
They did.
They did.
For sure.
But you know, that's what friends do. And they had it every right too. It was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's like the first day of how we met and kind of how we began to be friends. And then we'll get into how like our first date. That is fun to talk about.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you talk about that, of like how you asked me and all of that.
Yeah. So we started to actually date. Let's see, about 3 months after we met each other. And so, yeah, I wanted to make it pretty official with this first date after there was a lot of confusion. And so I was like, hey, let's actually go on a date. Let's do this thing. And so we decided to go to Cheesecake Factory. And then after that, we went to the drive-in. And that movie that we saw was Sing 2. So it was super fun. It was, the drive-ins are very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just a good first date. And yeah, that was a fun date. So yeah, what else would you like to add there?
Yeah, and he did ask me to be his girlfriend, guys, on the first date too, and that was funny. It was honestly so fun, but I did take a minute to think about it.
Yeah.
I did like him, but I was thinking, I'm like, hey, do I want to commit to this? Is this like something that I actually want to do? And obviously I said yes, because I was like, no, I do like the guy. I'm going to say yes, of course. And we're going to start dating. But you know, the labels are always so scary. And he's like my first real long-term relationship. Like I had one sophomore year of high school that lasted a month. And it was basically just being friends with the guy. That's all it was. Really weird. I can't explain it other than that. So he's my first real relationship that I had. And that ended up turning into a marriage, which is awesome. And so I just really was like kind of scared of the labels a little bit, of like, whoa, girlfriend, that's a big step. But obviously I said yes, and like the first date was so fun. Like Cheesecake Factory is one of my favorite restaurants, and it was really fun. It was a little awkward, I think. A little awkward, just like trying to figure out like conversation wise, but it ended up like we ended up warming up, and it ended up being like so fun and so great.
Yeah, I think it made it a little awkward for a little bit, just because again we were hanging out every day up until that point for like 3 months,
right?
Classified as like just friends, even though we weren't really.
Yeah.
And so there's like a little added pressure, like this is actually a date, but we needed to do that to like get the ball moving forward, because we weren't really sure what we were, and so we needed some clarity, and that worked out really well.
Yeah, and the drive-in was awesome.
Oh, it was sweet.
I've never been to a drive-in before, and that was so fun. And that movie was really, really good too. But honestly, we just spent the whole time talking, not even watching the movie, and that was a really good conversation, because honestly, from the first time I met him, I felt like I already knew him like for a long time, which is weird. I never felt that way about anyone before, and I just felt so comfortable around him, like I trusted him so easily. And again, that is so weird. Never felt that with anyone before. And so it was really fun, and it was kind of funny. We didn't even spend the time watching the movie, we just talked. But that was honestly such a fun time, though, getting to know him more, just us two as well. That was really, really fun. But yeah, and so that was our first date. Again, had such a blast, got to learn about each other more from it. And if you guys are looking for a fun date spot, for sure Cheesecake Factory and a drive-in movie. Or even doing a movie in your house or apartment, definitely do it, because it's such a fun date idea. I want to throw that out there. But yeah, and so I guess now just like kind of talking about how we knew that we how we knew that we wanted to marry each other. And so that I kind of mentioned it. Honestly, I don't know if I mentioned this the first episode or not, but we throughout like our relationship, I did talk about this. We went through like long distance and everything, which was fun, and I kind of want to hear your thoughts on that. But that was such a blessing in disguise, and I definitely mentioned that too. But since you're on the podcast, I kind of want to mention your thoughts on that.
I'm going long distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we made the decision to go long distance 2 years, or about a year into our...
year and a half.
Yeah, year and a half into dating.
Year and a few months.
Yeah, it was something like that.
It's around there.
Yeah, and that was, of course, a really tough decision to make because Chloe lives in Arizona. I went back to Kansas, 1,000 miles apart. And then we did long distance for 2 years. And so, yeah, those 2 years, they were tough, but also looking back at it, it worked out so well because, you know, Chloe was able to really build a community in Arizona and get really close to her home church there, and then also build out her faith. And that's where I saw a lot of growth in Chloe's life and in my life. Like, I think we needed time, of course, while still dating each other, but we also needed time in our own communities to build out both of our faith. And long distance also forces you to have very intentional conversations because the only thing you can do is stare at each other's face through FaceTime.
And just talk.
And talk.
Which is not a bad thing, guys, at all. But yeah.
Yeah, and so you make the most of it. And it was fun. Like, for some of it, we would watch movies together and we'd hit play at the same time. Like 3, 2, 1, play. Or we would also do like a drawing competition.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
Guys,
so
we only did that once though. But I do recommend, and that was like when we were engaged. But I do recommend doing that one because that's really fun.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But it was good though. Long distance, we learned so much from long distance. And a lot happened in those 2 years as well. And so we just grew a lot. And I think that prepared us for marriage, but also at the same time, you know, it was a pretty abrupt change from going long distance for 2 years to getting married. And so the first couple months we learned a lot about each other in the first couple months. And of course, we're still learning about each other every single day.
We're learning a lot now in marriage, guys.
Yes. So, yeah, that's the take on long distance.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Honestly, that's kind of took the words out of my mouth on that one. So that's really good. But yeah, and so with that came throughout the long distance, like we did long distance from like a year and a half into dating until we got married. Basically a few days before our wedding was like finishing long distance, which is crazy. And I was shocked that I was able to do that, but that was truly the Lord that helped us both in doing that, because I also mentioned that we almost broke up in long distance, which was kind of wild and kind of crazy. But that was just like, it was definitely like a perspective shift when we almost broke up to realize like, can we actually do this? Like, is this actually a hard thing that we can go through together? Because that question I asked myself that night was like, you can go through a lot of hard things, but do you want to do it with this person? Do I want to do this with them? And my immediate answer to that was yes. And it's funny, like he didn't hear that question or that response with that, because he was, he ended up having to take his dogs outside. So we both got some time to pray and think before we did make a decision. And I'm so thankful that the Lord placed on my heart to not break up with him, because the Lord knew later, 3 months later or so, he would propose to me, which I want to talk about the proposal because that's a funny story. So it's funny because I'll share my thought process with him and then I'll have him share his. But he proposed on March 9th of 2024. Yeah. And so we had a pretty much a year engagement, which I don't have a preference on like how long. That's just the time frame that worked best for us because we were finishing up college and then me living in a different state and then us getting married in Arizona. It just worked out well for us to have a year engagement. I wish it was a little bit shorter, but hey, we did it. The Lord helped us and we're here now. Praise God. But so with the engagement story, I flew in to Kansas from Arizona on a Saturday morning at like, I don't know, it was early in the morning. I had to wake up like 3 in the morning to get to the airport. And so I was so tired, but I like had a lot of adrenaline in seeing him. And this was over spring break too. And I stayed for like a week there, which was so fun. But it's funny because when I was at the airport, I called my parents to let them know, hey, I got to the airport safely because I was living on campus and they didn't drive me. And it's funny, two of my friends drove me to the airport, and one of my friends, she knew I was getting engaged that day that I flew into Kansas. And it's funny because she gave me a hug, then she gave she gave one of my other friends a hug, then she gave me a hug, then she gave my other friend another hug and whispered to her, Chloe's getting engaged. I didn't hear that at all. And then she decided to give me another hug. I know, right? And I was like close to them too, and I did not hear that at all. I don't know how I did not hear that. But it was funny because then she gave me another hug to not seem suspicious. And it was funny because it was just really funny. But I called my parents, and funny enough, Ben surprised me with my whole family going to Kansas too at the engagement, which is so wild, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Yeah, and so I didn't know they were there, and so I just called them, let them know I'm there, whatever. Meanwhile, they're in Kansas right now, and so I fly in, he picks me up at the airport, and then we go to this like place for lunch called BB Bop. It's like an Asian Chipotle, really good. Highly recommend if you're in Kansas. I think it's local. Is it really? No?
But
wait, where else is it in?
It's definitely around the Midwest.
Okay.
But I don't think it's in Arizona.
Well, then that just knows how much I know about the Midwest, guys, because this is the first Midwest state I think I've been to that I know of and living in. So I fly in, we go get lunch, and we just spend like the whole day together until like 3. And he told me that we were gonna go like walk around this like botanical garden place and then go out to dinner. Like we've normally done that when I've gone to Kansas, so I didn't think anything of it. But then his family was saying like, oh, they already have dinner plans and had something going on, so they left and it was just us in his parents' house just playing games and then just hanging out. So I had no idea this was happening on Saturday, the day that I flew in. I thought this was going to happen like 2 days later because he made it seem like it was going to happen 2 days later, which is a smart idea. But we end up having to get ready to go to the botanical garden place and then going to dinner. And so I get ready. I'm trying to figure out what to wear because somehow I just get a little feeling like maybe he might. And I wanted to wear something, and I'm like, hey, what am I gonna...
I was going to propose that week.
Yes, yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that. We've talked about it too, and it's funny, like, I think like 2 weeks later, where we almost broke up, 2 weeks later, we started talking about engagement, which is funny, but at the same time, it's like, well, if you know, you know, and if we knew we weren't gonna break up, and we knew that we wanted to get married, why not just talk about it then? Kind of my thought process. But I'm just trying to figure, so I already knew it was happening that week, but I just didn't know what day. And so I'm just like, you know, it might seem like it's gonna happen, but I wasn't sure. So I wanted to just make sure I looked dressed up just in case. And it was funny because he comes in and asks, hey, does this outfit look good? And I look at him and I'm like, that doesn't look that nice. And he told me we're going to a nice restaurant. I'm like, that doesn't look that nice.
Oh,
and it's funny because you had your vest on, And inside the vest, he has the ring box in it, and I didn't even notice it because his pockets were too small for the ring box, and
Or like too big for the ring box.
your pockets were. Yeah, you couldn't fit in your
Yeah.
pockets, so you had to wear the vest, and it was cold out still. So, I mean, and he thought I was talking about the vest when I was just talking about the shirt. And so he started getting really nervous. He goes back and changes, and I'm like, oh, okay, that looks better. Still has the vest on. And I still get ready. He goes downstairs or whatever. I don't know if he talked to your dad or whatever, but he's like really nervous.
Oh yeah, of course.
And so we drive to the place and all of that. And
I'm
then,
freaking out.
yeah, he's freaking out. Yeah, what were you thinking with all of that?
Yeah, inside my head is screaming. I'm just screaming inside. Like, yeah, it was pretty nerve wracking. You know, about to commit the rest of my life with you, so it's like this is a kind of big decision.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, we drive up to the. It's called the Arboretum. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, you can take it from here.
Yeah, and so we get to the spot, and we just start kind of walking around. And it's funny, he has a really good family friend who was taking pictures of us. And I thought the guy worked there. Like I saw him taking pictures of the ground, and he was following us around.
Yeah,
And
because that was the plan. I told him, like, hey, pretend like, or he actually recommended. He was like, hey, I'll just pretend like I work here, or
Yeah.
just pretend like I'm a random guide taking
Mhm.
pictures of the flowers. And he had a really good camera, so he could zoom in all the way and get really
Yeah.
good shots. And so he did a great job.
hmm Yeah, and it's funny, it actually worked out well because I never met the guy,
Yeah.
and so I didn't know what he looked like. And so that was actually a really smart idea. And so I just thought he worked there, and I didn't see him behind us or anything. He did a really good job. But so we just started walking around or whatever, and then we get to the spot where he's supposed to propose. And right when he's about to, and there was a family there right behind us, and it was gonna be in the middle of the shot of the picture.
Yeah,
When
the
he has
worst
to
timing
propose.
ever. I was literally
Literally.
about to do it, or I was going to the spot where I was going to do it because I talked with the photographer, like, hey, this is
Mhm.
gonna be the spot. It's right by the pond. It's a pretty tree in the background.
Oh.
I'm gonna do it here. But then, of course, as I'm walking up there with Chloe, this like family of 5 is there. I'm like, dude. And so obviously, Plan B was in play, but there was no Plan B. So it's like, all right. So that's when we started walking. Me and Chloe started walking towards the photographer. Again, she had no idea who he was, what he looked like, so she didn't really know. But the way I was acting so weird.
He was like giving me he gave me a big smile, like something big is about to happen, and my heart drops. And my eyes get really big apparently, and that scares him.
Well, yeah, so I stop because I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it right here. And I turn and look at Chloe, but then I see Chloe's face, just by the look of her face, like she knew what was about to happen. And for some reason that freaked me out so much that I was just like, let's just keep walking. And you could just see the look on her face, like, what is going on?
I was so confused. I'm like, dude, I think you're about to do it, but what's
Yeah.
going on?
So we keep walking, and Chloe's, like so confused now. I'm freaking out still. And then eventually, literally about like 20 seconds later, we stop walking again. I look at her,
Just sit.
and then I literally
What did
say
you
out loud,
say?
I'm like, okay, screw it. And I get on my knee and I say, Chloe, I was gonna do it back there, but here we are now. I'm gonna get them.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. I don't even remember what you said.
And so, I asked her to marry me,
I said, yeah.
and she didn't even say yes. She was
Okay,
just
no, I said yes. This is the funny thing. The funny thing is, I'm like, I have an Instagram picture of like him proposing, and I'm just shocked. The whole thing that is going through my head right now is I thought this was happening on Monday,
Mhm.
2 days later, because he made it seem like that, and I can't comprehend because he tripped me up 2 times already at the tree and then at the dock. And then after he stopped at this little dock and kept walking, I was like, hey, it's not happening. Don't think it's happening. Because I didn't want my hopes to get too high.
You were actually so shocked that as soon as I got on my knee She literally starts yelling, "No, no!"
No, like, I said no out of, like, just pure shock. Being like, this is no way this is happening right now.
Yeah.
And, of course, I said yes, obviously. But I said yes underneath my breath, but I realized he couldn't hear it, obviously. Because, like, my hands, if you're not watching a YouTube video, my hands are over my mouth right now, and I was literally like this.
Yeah. And so I'm like, Chloe,
the whole time.
I need a yes or
Yeah,
no.
he was literally like, Chloe, that's kind of a yes or no answer. Like, I need an answer, because he's so nervous. And so then I'm like, yes, of course, yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was so funny. And then he brings me back to the tree where he was going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was a very wild proposal, but
we got it done.
we got it. I said yes. Everything worked out. And he doesn't have the best luck. And so really it kind of worked out the way I feel like it should have anyway, because he does not have the best luck. And after I said yes and everything, then he surprised me with my family. So his family was there, my family was there at the garden, and they all came out screaming, yay, and all of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got more surprised at my family than him saying yes, because I was not expecting my family there at all.
Or than me proposing and you saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, I got more shocked that, like, my family was there than, like, obviously I was shocked that he proposed, but then I was, like, even more shocked that my family was there.
Oh, I see.
Because I was, like, I was not expecting my family to be in Kansas. And it was just my mom and then my dad and then my sister and her husband that were there, because my two brothers couldn't make it. But still, like, I was not expecting anyone from my family being able to be there. And he wanted something special in Kansas since we got married in Arizona. And it was just so fun. And then he surprised me with, like, a little party at the church, later inviting his friends and family, and it was just such a fun time.
Yeah.
That was just completely, I was just shocked that I got engaged that day. And it was honestly smart, because then we got to spend the whole week together, and got to plan out some things in person before I went back, and it was just really fun. Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah. And now, and I'll talk about in another episode our wedding and everything, but that was honestly such a fun time. And I'll talk about our honeymoon too in the other episode, which will be so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so now we're married, which is so fun and so wild. But that is how we met, and that is how we got engaged, and how we knew we were the one. I guess, yeah, we kind of did not answer that. How did we know we were the one?
How did I know that you were the one?
Yeah, like, how did we know we wanted to marry each other?
Well, so that's what was actually a challenge at first, was because when I first met you, of course, I was very attracted to you. And then we clicked chemistry-wise. Like,
very fast.
Yeah, we clicked very fast, and just super easy to be around. We hung out with each other all the time. But I knew that you weren't a believer yet, and and so that was a big thing for me. And so that's when I was wanting to try to see what would happen. And then that's when the Lord, really worked in your heart. And about 3 months later, that's when I was like, okay, it's clear that your faith is your own, that you are saved. Like, I'm seeing actual fruits of the Spirit being produced, and like, let's do this thing. And so to us, that's what dating is seeing if this person you can commit to for the rest of your life. And so that's what I knew it was first off just like our chemistry. But then the biggest thing was okay, her faith really is her own, and like it's legit, and so let's do this thing. So I'd say that's the biggest one.
Yeah, and like, we had the mindset of like dating to marry, especially once I got saved. I started to understand more of what that meant, and so like how I knew he was the one was I just seeing his faithfulness to the Lord, especially after me getting saved and just understanding that more. And once we started dating, so we started dating in January of 2022, and once like I really got to know him more, and I think like 6 months into dating, I wanted to marry him, really early on. But honestly though, like I knew because my faith was growing a lot more at that point, and I knew that he is such a godly man, and I knew that he would be such a great leader in marriage that I just knew that I want to marry him because of who he is, because of his character in the Lord. And that's what first attracted me to him. He is very, very handsome, and I want to preface that. But I loved, but what really got me to be more interested in him first was his character in the Lord, and who he is in the Lord and how he carries himself. And so that really is just what got me to really know. And the more I got to know him, the more I'm like, yeah, I want to marry him because of who he is in the Lord. I hope that makes sense, and that's not a tangent. But yeah, you are very handsome, and I'm so glad that we got married. I love you.
Please cut that part out.
Why? That's so cute. I'm keeping that in. But yeah, and so I hope that this, that you guys are able to take something from this episode. Hope that it encouraged you guys. And if you guys are in that dating phase of whether or not you guys should get married, just pray about it and ask other people for advice too on it. And the Lord will definitely make that clear on if you're supposed to marry that person or not. And just see your values in the Lord, and do they align? And do you both agree in what the Bible says? And because that's was an indicator for us, and we both were able to realize, okay, our values are the same, and what we both are looking for and wanting in the future of where to live and everything that, all we agreed on too. So those definitely go into play too. And so just make sure you guys ask each other those questions before you jump right into saying yes to engagement, and really making sure, because we had a lot of hard conversations, especially long distance, before we got engaged, to see okay, can we do, is this the person that God wants me to marry? Do I want to marry this person based off of who they are? And are they going to grow me closer to the Lord? That is the number one question to ask. Are they going to grow me closer to the Lord? And I'm so thankful that that was definitely a yes for both of us. And we're still learning, especially in marriage. We're still learning a lot right now about each other, which is so fun though.
Yeah, I'd say that's the biggest thing with with dating.
Yeah.
And then engagement is, if your core values for both of you is not Christ, then then it can get bumpy really quickly. And so, because Christ is the one thing that doesn't move, and so making sure that that is your first priority, and then your second priority would be, for me, my second priority is you as my wife. My first priority is Christ. But that's what's so beautiful, is if our priority is Christ first, then everything else will fall into place. Because that's God's design for us, is to love God, and then also to love others. And so that was the biggest thing that got us through long distance, was we knew, hey, we are both in this to have Christ at the center of our relationship. And because of that, we know God will bless that. Doesn't mean it'll be easy by any means, but that's what also makes it beautiful, is He will throw trials in our lives, and then that'll strengthen us, and that's what strengthened our relationship, was going through difficult things, but seeking to keep Christ at the center. We definitely weren't perfect, but having that mindset, I think, is what helped us out the most. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really well said. Yeah, just keeping Christ at the center of your dating relationship, engagement, and in marriage for sure. Because Christ is truly the foundation of everything. And so, good job. That was really good. But I just hope that was encouraging for you guys. And I hope you guys took something away from this. I hope that you guys just felt the Lord's presence in this episode. Again, my podcast episodes come out every Wednesday. I know this one's coming out on Thursday, but they normally come out every Wednesday. This week just got a little crazy, but every Wednesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube, and it's called Broken to Beautiful. And you can follow me on my personal Instagram account, chloe.fisher16, and my podcast Instagram account, broken_2_beautiful podcast. And I just hope you guys have such a wonderful rest of your day and just rest of your week. And just remember that God can turn your brokenness into something beautiful for His glory and for your good. And thank you, Ben, so much for coming on this week's episode. It was so fun having you on, and I'm so glad that I finally got my husband on.
Oh yeah, third time's a charm.
Yeah, third time. Well, I kind of wanted you to come on around this time anyway.
Oh.
But it worked out really well. And so thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
It was so fun. But again, guys, I just hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week, and just remember that God loves you guys. Bye.